Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We've already got a good bunch of people, good bunch of members of our family here in the chat tonight. We appreciate all of you being here with us. God bless you for that. We really do appreciate it. Guys, I'm going to start this program off just a little bit different tonight. I want to show you potato. A potato. Okay? This is not an Idaho russet. This potato doesn't come from California, but this is a Chihuahua named Potato. I want you to see this. This is funny. Okay, wasn't that funny? Unfortunately, Potato did not make the Olympic team. But Potato did a good job. Even did the backstroke. Potato even did the backstroke, guys. This is so funny. I just wanted to show that to you. When I saw it, I just busted up laughing. My wife sent me that, and I'm going, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Anyway, I want to show you that at the beginning of the program today. We've had some earthquakes here in the United States and around the world. I want to first start off showing you a big earthquake. Not large, but a big enough. Actually, it was a large earthquake. I bet I'm taking that back. It was a large earthquake. This came out as a 4.7 earthquake in Pasadena, California. They immediately started reducing it to 4.6 all the way down to 4.2 and back up to a 4.4 earthquake. This happened just over in Pasadena, California at about 12:05 this afternoon. 12:05 this afternoon. Let me show you this. This is from JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. This is what they showed. Again, the Caltech, who is the organization that we pulled this information from, again, just like USGS does and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network does, they cut off the top and the bottom of the earthquake. Heaven forbid they show us exactly how strong this earthquake was. It was at least a 5.005 earthquake. It was a large 5.005 earthquake, and I can prove it. Let me pull up the next slide for you. I want to show you this. This is wild. I've been doing a lot of math ever since this earthquake hit. I've been pulling up information literally all afternoon so I can show it to you tonight. This is wild. This is wild. Look at this. Look at this, guys. Officially, it came out at Highland Park, which is over in Pasadena, California. Now, I pulled this up here so you can see it. Okay, this is what it showed. Okay, let me enlarge this so you can see it even further here. Actually, let me do this. Okay, I want to show you this. Oh, don't tell me that. There we go. I went to the back seismologist study page to pull this information up today. Okay? I took a screenshot of the whole page so you can see it. They showed us 4 different earthquakes here. A 4.39 earthquake. Then they showed us a 4.94 earthquake. Basically a 5.0 earthquake. Notice both of these earthquakes. They have 17 stations supposedly reporting this earthquake. By the way, I went to the 4.94 earthquake page. to pull up the station details, it didn't have 17 stations. It didn't have 40 stations. It had 50 stations reported, 50 different seismographs recording information. Okay? That's number one. Wasn't 17, it was over 40. 50 stations reporting this earthquake. Now, I want to show you this. This is wild. This is absolutely wild. I'm showing you the magnitudes here. 4.98, 4.7, 4.97, 5.05, 4.27, 5.0, 5.04, 4.4, 5.28, 5.36, 4.73, 4.81, 4.89. At no point is there a 4.4 earthquake. At no point there's a 4.27, but that's all. It was not a 4.4 earthquake. It was not a 4.6 either. It was a 5.005 earthquake. It was a large earthquake. It was a large earthquake, guys. I don't care what USBS wants to say. It was a large earthquake. Okay? Hurricane Heather says it was bigger than a 4.7. I agree. I pulled all the information about this earthquake. I pulled all of the information. Okay? I can show you 50 different stations reporting this quake. Look at that. 5.09, 5.0, 5.25, 5.15, 5.12, 4.93, 5.03, 4.84, 4.81, 5.39, 5.03. Look at all these earthquakes. All these sensor readings. This was a 5.005 earthquake. Regardless of what the USBS wants to say, this was a much larger earthquake. They downgraded the damn earthquake by over a half magnitude. This was over a 5.0 quake. They downgraded it to a 4.4. That's an atrocity. That's an atrocity. Downgrading it over a half magnitude. Again, what was that earthquake the other day? It was just north of Pasadena, Lamont, California. That earthquake was an oil and gas quake. This was not. This was not. This was a fault earthquake. This was a fault earthquake. Okay? Over in the Pasadena Hills. Now, I'm showing you this. I wanted you to see it like I saw it. Okay? I added up all of these earthquake signatures here, all these numbers here, and I divided by 50, which came to be 5.005 earthquake. 5.005 earthquake, no matter how you cut it. They had no right downgrading it to a 4.4. It does not make any sense at all. None. Now, I've gone a step further than that. I've gone a bit farther than that. I want to show you something. I'm going to show you a video clip from KTLA Channel 5 in Los Angeles. Why am I going to show you this? Because I want you to hear what those news people in the news studio thought about this quake. And again, this is important. Let me show you this clip here. Hold on a second. I thought I had this already queued up, but I don't. But I have it here for you, and I'm going to show it to you here.
You, as the consumer, don't know where.
We actually have some engineers in here now checking out our equipment. We have a lot of overhead lights. They were shaking pretty good. Matter of fact, the whole building was shaking pretty good. So they're checking things out, but it looks like at least we're going to be okay. And I'm sorry, what's going on in the newsroom?
Hey, it's Samantha in the newsroom. Hi, Glenn and Lou.
Hi.
Yes, quite a shaker. Immediately did the drop cover hold under my desk out here because we have so many lights. I know you guys do in the studio too. You just never know what's going to shake and fall. But LAPD headquarters have announced that 911 is only for emergencies. They'd ask people, yes, they felt the earthquake. They are aware of it. Now, as you know, they go into a tactical mode where they go check on big structures, make sure everything's okay. This was felt from the valley all the way, as you guys mentioned, out to Riverside. I'm seeing on our graphic here that Palm Springs felt it a little bit. That's my hometown where we're born and raised to know what to do in an earthquake, being out there on the San Andreas. So I'm sure we'll hear from Dr. Lucy Jones soon. USGS, again, if you're just joining us, magnitude 4.7 quake near South Pasadena. Lou, I know you said you were in the makeup room. Lots of stuff moving around in there too.
Yep, I was in the little room there to the right, just sort of straightening up my area because it gets sort of messy in the morning when we're rushing in here. And I was telling Glenn, you know, there's that storage unit that some of the guys and gals put, you know, mannequins and a bunch of stuff up there. And I thought that's what it was, or someone stomping around. But then about 2 seconds later, it sort of shifted left-right for me. I'm not sure how it felt for you guys in the newsroom or here in the studio.
Well, we're used to these earthquakes where you feel a little bit of shaking and then maybe it'll pass. But this one kind of felt like it lasted beyond the initial 10-second shaker. Other people kind of looked around, go, okay, yep, this is an earthquake. This is what we do. This is why every October we do the drills where you're supposed to drop, cover, and hold. A lot of people still think that maybe you're supposed to get into a doorway, but that is based from an early, I believe, 1920s, Dr. Lucy Jones said, where that was the sturdiest part of a home, was in a doorway. But that's not the case anymore. They say find something sturdy, like a wood table or a desk. Don't obviously get under any glass, because most people get hurt from something falling over in an earthquake. But Glenn and Lou, I'm not hearing any reports of any injury. Now we're hearing 4.6 possibly in Highland Park. You're seeing it just north of Fraser Park, felt there. Big Bear Lake felt it. Glenn, I know you said you were in the studio. How are the lights swaying?
They were swaying pretty good. The whole building, I mean, you could feel the stress on the entire building. And as you said, it was not a short shaker. It was pretty long, more than 10 seconds. But everything seemed to hold up in here pretty well. By the way, we're now hearing 4.6 in Highland Park. Originally, we said South Pasadena, 4.7. So 4.6, 4.7, somewhere around there. That's not, you know, there's really no difference there that you can really feel. But they're saying now that the epicenter may have been in Highland Park, which is pretty close to South Pasadena.
And this keeps getting downgraded, in fact. Initially 4.7, 4.6, now USGS reporting 4.4. But if it's a shallow quake and you're sitting somewhat close to it, you felt it. And that's what we felt here in Hollywood.
Well,
For sure.
Had a depth of 6 miles.
All right, let's check in. We mentioned South Pasadena. We have someone on the phone with us right now, Andrea. Hi, Andrea. You're in South Pasadena.
Hi. Yeah. It was like really scary. It was definitely shaking a lot. It kind of felt like the house got like picked up and then dropped, and a lot of like the posters and things on the walls of my room fell down.
Oh wow. Where are you in South Pasadena? What area ish?
Kind of near the metro station.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to drop it there. That lady near the metro station in South Pasadena felt it as well. Folks, I have seismograms that I'm going to show you all over Southern California. That earthquake was felt out to the Channel Islands, all the way out to the desert to Victorville. Yes, Isaiah's granny felt it in Victorville. It was felt all the way down into Julian, California, just East County, San Diego County, up into the mountains of East San Diego County and Julian. I'm going to show you those seismograms in just a second. This was a lot larger than they are saying. There is no way a 4.4 magnitude earthquake in Los Angeles, on the northern side of Los Angeles, could have been felt in San Diego. There's no way. There's absolutely no possibility. Okay? It was a much larger earthquake. It was at least a 5.005 earthquake. Large earthquake. That's incredible. That is really incredible. Now, I want to show you what's going on. Okay? I want to show you what's going on. It's a big deal. It's a great big deal. Again, this is Pasadena. This seismogram comes from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. Okay, that's what it looked like. Again, they cut off the top and the bottom of this earthquake because, heaven forbid, they show us exactly how strong that earthquake was. But you can see it. Okay? The news people said it lasted about 10 seconds. From looking at this was 25-second earthquake. 25, even 30-second earthquake here. You can see the width of this. The width of this is a time element that the earthquake was shaking. This is more like 30 seconds of the earthquake shaking. Okay? It shook all over the place. Literally everywhere. There's nowhere during that time period in Southern California that somebody didn't feel it, unless they maybe have been sleeping or conked out some way, shape, or form where they couldn't feel it. I want to show you over off the coast of California, off the coast of LA, the Channel Islands. Look at this. Look at this, guys. Now, this particular shaking here is the Channel Islands just off the coast of Los Angeles. Now, I'm going to lower this down because this seismogram started out showing after 5 a.m. this morning. That black top line was 5 a.m. this morning. You can see the tremors here. You can see the tremors here. Yes, there are some large earthquakes. There are 2.3, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 earthquakes. You can see them here on the green lines here. Larger earthquakes, 2.6, 2.7 earthquakes. However, we dropped down over here to just after 12:05 this afternoon. Look on that red line here. Look on that red line. This shows shaking from Los Angeles. This shows shaking from Los Angeles out in the Channel Islands off the coast of LA. That was a bit more powerful than just a 4.4. Okay? Channel Islands, guys. Now, let's go over to Bakersfield, California. Look at this. Again, we're seeing mostly tremors here. We're seeing mostly tremors, but we come over here just after 12 noon. Okay? Again, out in Bakersfield, they felt this earthquake. The seismogram recorded it. The seismograph recorded this onto the seismogram. This was felt all over Southern California. Okay? It's crazy. It's literally crazy. Let's see some more here. Okay, how about Barstow? Way out in the desert in Barstow. Look at this. Even that earthquake was recorded out in Barstow, California. Out in the desert. Fascinating, huh? It doesn't stop. How about Idlewild? Remember last week I showed you a picture of Idlewild? This is southeastern part of the desert. Southeast of Los Angeles. Bakersfield, California, Idlewild, California. Look at this. This earthquake was recorded out in Idlewild, California. It doesn't show is time element here, but it does show the earthquake here. Okay? Let me show you some more. That was Idlewild. Let's go out into Hemet, Orange County, California. San Jacinto campus. This is a college campus. I've taught police science classes out at San Jacinto campus. I've also taken one other class out here at San Jacinto College. This is what it looked like this morning, or I should say this afternoon. Yes, we had a lot of tremors out here in Hemet, California, but we're still seeing the earthquake that happened over in Pasadena. It's very apparent. It's very much apparent. This earthquake lasted a long, long time. It lasted a long time. Okay? Let's show you another one. Let's go over to the Baldwin Hills just northwest of Los Angeles. Okay, this is what it looked like in the Baldwin Hills. This is almost directly west of Pasadena. This is the oil and gas pumping area of Los Angeles. The Baldwin Hills used to be mountainous hills, mountainous terrain. They bulldozed the trees, they bulldozed the landscape to have huge, long, flat pads out here. Those pads now have pumps and jacks all over them, pumping oil and gas to the surface of the earth for distribution over to the LA refinery, where it's shipped out to literally all over the West Coast, probably all the way even out towards Texas. This is what it looked like. Again, this is a big deal. When we looked at the JPL seismogram, it did not look like it was more than 30 seconds. The earthquake did not last more than 30 seconds. Look at it here. This earthquake lasted nearly 2 minutes. The shaking lasted nearly 2 minutes here. Okay? That is a powerful earthquake. This is a powerful earthquake. Okay? That's why I'm showing you this. I want you to see it. I want you to see it and understand how strong it was. Let's go to the north of LA. Let's go over to Del Amo. Look at the Del Amo seismogram here. Top to bottom, side to side seismic events happening here. However, it also shows the Los Angeles quake over in Pasadena as well. This was again a strong earthquake. Let's keep moving here. That was Del Amo. Let me show you Ellis, California. Look at that. Yes, we're seeing large earthquakes here. We are seeing some large earthquakes. After 7 a.m. on this black line over towards the right. This is about 7:12 a.m. this morning. Okay? We're already seeing the beginning of a large earthquake here. It looks like it started off as like a 2.2 earthquake. Then it ramps up to nearly a 3.0 earthquake. 2.8, 2.89 earthquake here. Okay? That's just after 7:12 a.m. this morning. Then you see another earthquake on this blue line after 9:30 this morning. You come over here to where it says 9 a.m. here, 0900 hours, 9 a.m. We drop down 2 lines to the blue line here. We come over here to the right. Okay, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 minutes after 9. About 9:05 and 30 seconds, the earthquake starts. Starts off as a 2.2 earthquake. It suddenly wraps up within 30 seconds to be nearly a 3.0 earthquake, if not a 3.0 earthquake there. But the next earthquake that we see is in Pasadena, California. It lasts almost 2 minutes long. It was a 5.05 earthquake. Okay? That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. Now, I showed you Pasadena already. Let's drop down to Long Beach, California. Look at this. This is Long Beach. top to bottom, side to side seismic activity. Again, we see the Los Angeles Pasadena earthquake here. It's very evident what it is, where it's at. Then we drop down here to 2 p.m. where it says 1400 hours. 1400 hours on the black line. We come over here to near the bottom of this seismogram. You can see the earthquakes hitting. 2.0s, 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes. On the red line after that, which will be 215 over on the left-hand side. Again, we're seeing 2.6, 2.7 earthquakes, and that is here in Long Beach. That's here in Long Beach. Let's continue here. I want to take you over to another place. Another place. Mira Loma, Loma Linda area here. Look at this. This is on the eastern side of Los Angeles. Mira Loma is just south and west of Loma Linda. Again, we're still seeing the Pasadena earthquake here. We see tremors here. We're also seeing some other 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes here. We go down to the bottom here on the black line. On the black line over here, and this is after 2:10 p.m. this afternoon. A 2.8, 2.9 earthquake here. You can see on the black line up here, up until that earthquake gets as large as it's going to get, we have tremors building up to 2.0 minor earthquakes all the way over here to the maximum here at 2:10 p.m. this afternoon of a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. And after that, it starts ramping down here. But even after 2:15 on the red line, we're still seeing a lot of tremor buildup here. That is a lot of seismic energy here in this area. It's a lot of seismic energy. Now, I want to show you one other idea here. Okay, and I should have had it ready for you to see before now. I'm going over to show you State Street over in Anaheim. Hold on just a second. Come on, come on, come on. Just a second, I'll have it ready here. Again, this is over at Disneyland. And now Disneyland is operational. Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm here in Los Angeles is operational. It's high noon in Los Angeles. Let me show you State Street here. Okay? This might blow your mind here. This may very well blow your mind. Let me show you this. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. State Street, Anaheim, California. Look at this. Even after 5 a.m. that shows up on the top line here, you're seeing 2.6 earthquakes. You're seeing a lot of other minor tremors as well. Over on the green line, over on the right-hand side, over on the left, it would be 5:45 a.m. this morning. But over here, it's 5:47 a.m. this morning. That is a 3.0 earthquake here in Anaheim, California. Again, this is before Disneyland opens up. As you can see, there are other earthquakes here. As you look closely on this seismogram, you see other good-sized earthquakes. Again, look where the Pasadena earthquake is shown. Look at the Pasadena quake. That earthquake lasted longer than they said it did, and was larger than they said it was. down at the bottom on the red and blue lines. The red line in this case is 315 on the left-hand side. As we go to the right, we see more and more earthquakes, don't we? It's more than just tremors. More than just tremors. 2.0s, 2.6s, 2.7 earthquakes. Then we drop down to the blue line at the bottom left-hand corner. That is 3:30 this afternoon over on the far left-hand side. Then we go over to the right just about a minute and a half, minute 45 seconds, and suddenly we have another 3.0 earthquake. About a minute later, we have another 3.0 earthquake. Yes, folks, over in Anaheim, California, they probably had to shut down Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm because they were shaking here. They were experiencing shaking here in Los Angeles. No joke. Catherine Sigurdsson in Canada says she's getting buffering here. Wouldn't surprise me because the USGS and YouTube don't like me showing you this information because heaven forbid we tell you that they're lying to us. We're not just telling you, we're showing you. Unreal. Unreal. You can see how this seismic energy is affecting the people in Los Angeles. It's just not one place. Most of Los Angeles felt this earthquake. And as you could hear from the news people, it was a long rolling quake. It started off with a strike-slip earthquake, meaning side-to-side rumbling, side-to-side movement. But they also heard it. They also heard the quake. That means the plate sides were slipping together. The sides of the plate were rubbing against each other. That is why they heard the quake. Strike-slip earthquake. Strike-slip earthquake on that fault. Incredible. But it's not just Los Angeles. Let's go over into San Diego County. I was talking to Rob52, one of our mods and one of my best friends. Right before I came on the air, I was talking to him. I want to show you what it felt like in San Diego County. San Diego, of all places, felt this earthquake. North San Diego County at Camp Pendleton. Camp Pendleton, Oceanside, California. Look here. This earthquake was felt here for about 30 seconds. Here it looks to be a 3.4, 3.5 earthquake. But again, they're not showing us the top and the bottom accurately here. I believe they even cut this off here. Notice here also, there is at least a 2.0, 2.1, 2.2 earthquake here. Okay? That happened just after 10:18 a.m. this morning. And they've had other minor tremors as well. North San Diego County up in Oceanside, California at Camp Pendleton. Not just there, folks. Let's take a look at other places in San Diego County. Okay? How about Anza-Borrego Desert State Park, northeast San Diego County? There it is again. Borrego Springs, California. Here it's not showing as much as a 5.0 earthquake, but here we're seeing at least a 2.7, 2.8. Some shaking was still over here in Borrego Springs today. Let's go over to Julian. Julian is south of Borrego. Yes, I do. I've got Julian here. This is how it appeared in Julian, California. Okay? 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. Felt all the way down into San Diego County. San Diego County. And that's not all, folks. There's more. There's a lot more. Let's go over to where one of our friends lives over in El Centro, California. This is down in the Imperial Valley. This is El Centro, California. Look at this. Look at this, guys. El Centro, California. Every day El Centro looks like this except after 12:05 this afternoon. Again, we're seeing the Los Angeles earthquake down here in El Centro, California. Unreal. Unreal. You're also seeing bunches, probably 30 3.0, 3.3 earthquakes here in El Centro today. This is typically what it looks like too. 20 to 30 3.0 and larger earthquakes here in El Centro. Okay? That's incredible. That's incredible. Yes, Juanito lives over in El Centro. Now, I did not see Juanito come into the chat. But Juanito, if you're here, wave at us. Wave at us, Juanito. This is incredible. Juanito may have even felt Los Angeles and Pasadena move, because he was feeling every one of these earthquakes. It's non-stop. It's non-stop, guys. This is what it looks like in El Centro every day now. It's been shaking like this for months. El Centro has been shaking like this for months. This is nothing new. Okay? When did it start? It started about 3 or 4 months ago. Why? Because just north of El Centro is a place called Westmoreland, California. Now, I did not pull up the Westmoreland seismogram today for you, but that's where it started. There was a 5.5 earthquake in Westmoreland, California. Westmoreland is just south on the southwestern side of the Salton Sea. There was a 5.5 earthquake. But ever since then, we've seen these earthquakes in El Centro. All over. How about the town of Imperial? How about the town of Imperial now? Let's look at that. Look at this, guys. This is Imperial, California, in the Imperial Valley. This is just northeast of El Centro. Yes, we're also seeing the Pasadena earthquake here. But after the Pasadena earthquake, after 12:30 this afternoon, about 12:32 this afternoon, Imperial started shaking itself. 3.0 earthquakes. 3.0 earthquakes, nearly 15 minutes long. Off and on for almost 15 minutes. About 12 minutes of the day. 12 minutes of that hour spent shaking 3.0 earthquakes. How would you like to live in the town of Imperial? Constantly shaking like this. Not intermittent shaking like you saw in down in El Centro, but you're still seeing this here. Unreal. Catherine Sigurdsson said she blew a tire on Friday and had to change it herself. She needed a whole new tire. Been there, done that. I'm sorry, Catherine, for you would have to change it yourself. It's too bad nobody else was out there to help you do that little bit of work. Actually, it's a lot of work. I shouldn't say a little bit, it was a lot of work. Unreal. Richard Smith is still telling us about earthquakes. Now, earlier, just a little bit earlier, there was another 4.4 earthquake over in Peru. That's been happening all day long. Over in Chile and Peru all day long. Now Richard Smith is telling us about a 3.0 in Salta, Argentina. This earthquake is over at this Chile-Argentina border region in northern Chile. Salta, Argentina, 3.0 earthquake. This is up in the Andes Mountains, the border region of Argentina and Chile. Anyway, this is what's going on. Hey, Juanito, it's good to see you. Juanito's here in the chat. Juanito, we were just telling everybody about all the earthquakes in El Centro and the Imperial Valley today. I even showed you all the 3.0 earthquakes that happened in El Centro today. Incredible. Incredible. Unreal. But this is what's going on. That earthquake was recorded down here in the Imperial Valley today. All the way from Pasadena. That's at least 200 miles away. At least. From San Diego, where I used to live in San Diego, up to Pasadena was a good 4-hour drive because of traffic. It was about 130 miles from San Diego. Imperial Valley is a lot further than that. Probably closer to 200 miles. Okay? This is insane. Insane. Let's take one more look out in the Imperial Valley. I'm now going over to Baldwin Hills. Jeez. I want to go over to Bombay Beach. Good old Bombay Beach. Dadgummit. There we are. Here's Bombay Beach. How about that? In this particular seismogram here, we're still showing the Pasadena earthquake. Okay? But look at all the other earthquakes here. Starting after 7:45 this morning. Okay? Let's go over to 7:45 on the left-hand side and count over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We see some minor, very tiny tremors building up. Tremors start growing bigger at 7:40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7:51 a.m. this morning. And then within 1 minute after that, these earthquakes are over 3.0 earthquakes. We don't know how strong those earthquakes are because the seismograph was cut off. The top and the bottom of the seismic signals was cut off. Probably closer to 3.5, 4.0 earthquakes here at Bombay Beach. As you saw at the map from KTLA, Bombay Beach is over on the central east side of the Salton Sea. So that's what you're seeing here. We're seeing the Pasadena earthquake, and we're seeing all the other earthquakes here at Bombay Beach. By the way, Bombay Beach is on the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault. Unreal. Linda Covington is talking about 2028. The Olympics were announced to be in Los Angeles in 2028. Can you imagine if we have a good-sized earthquake in Los Angeles? What terror is going to happen with people from all over the world? Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm praying to God that it doesn't happen. I would not wish that on Los Angeles or anybody else. That would be a terrible day in the neighborhood. That would be a very terrible day in the neighborhood. Now, some of you have wanted me to talk about earthquakes up in the Pacific Northwest. We've not been showing you seismograms at the volcanoes in a little while. Now, we can do a couple things here. I can show you these seismograms at the volcanoes, but if you want, we can go over to the coastline of Washington and Oregon and show you seismograms from the coastline. Okay? Yesterday, Sunday, it was said by the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network that there were no fast slip, slow slip earthquakes. They said there were no slow slip earthquakes. None. No tremors at all. What a lie that is. What a cotton picking lie that is. There's tons of earthquakes. There are tons of tremors. Tons of them. It's too darn bad that the USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network continue to lie to everybody. It's sad. It is sad. I try every day to show you what's going on around the world. I try every day to make sure you see what I see. I try every day to prepare you for what's going on. But I can only do so much because the agencies continue to not tell the truth. They don't want to tell you the truth at all. Period. I think they must get a charge out of it. I think they must get a charge out of it. That's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, why would they continue to lie and cheat their way out of what's going on? Now, I'm going to show you the tremors that the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network says that are happening, that happened today. Okay? I'm going to show you that. Give me just a second here. I just pulled the images. Okay, I got it. This is Mount Baker up on the border, or just south of the border with Canada, over in Washington. Look what's happening here. Yes, we're seeing a lot of tremors. A ton of tremors here. But what started happening after that? What started happening after that, folks? All of a sudden, the tremors got larger. More magma was coming into the magma chamber. More magma was coming into the magma chamber. Look what we're seeing here. Okay? This was after 6:15 this morning. More magma started coming into the magma chamber over here at Mount Baker. That's a lot of magma. That's a lot of magma after hours. Hours and hours and hours of magma, okay? Starting at 6, going all the way down to after 12:15. 6 hours of magma here. 6 hours of magma up here at Mount Baker. That's an awful lot of magma here. No joke. No joke. Let me pull up the tremor map. I want to show you that next, right here. Look at this. Up here just south of Vancouver Island. Over at the Olympia Mountains. The Olympia Mountains here. Look at all those tremors. Guess what? It's not just tremors either. I'm going to pull up Chica Peak up here in the Olympic Mountains. I'm going to show you a few large earthquakes here. It wasn't just tremors here. Okay? Let's move south here. This is over at the California-Oregon border, southwest of Medford, Oregon. Look at the tremors here. They continue down here into California. It's not often that we see these earthquakes that the Pacific Northwest Network shows us down here this far south in California, in the northern Sierra Mountains here. This is an awful lot of tremor activity. Here we saw 282 epicenters. 282 earthquakes here today. Today. Incredible. Incredible. But that's not all, folks. There's more. Let me show you Chica Peak. Again, this is over in the Olympic Mountains, okay? I'm sorry I'm having to reduce the size of this so I can show it to you. I had to increase the size of the tremor map so you can see it. And now I'm having to reduce the size of this one here. Okay? Here at Chica Peak, you're seeing a bunch of tremors. OCP is Chica Peak in the Olympic Mountains. Okay? I just showed you a ton of tremors there around the Olympic Mountains. Look what we're showing you here. Not only do we have every line here with a bunch of tremors. That's what we have here, a bunch of tremors. But here we also see some earthquakes here. Now these earthquakes started about midnight here. Actually about 11, I want to say 11:56, 11:46 a.m. last night, 11:46 p.m. last night. Okay, 2.4, 2.5 earthquakes here. Then we move over here to the right. It looks to be this about a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake here on the right-hand side on the blue line. Unreal, huh? Uncaught and picking real. Chica Peak, a small earthquake. The others were minor earthquakes. That is a small earthquake there. And yet you see a bunch of other tremors there. Line to line. Each line is 15 minutes long. Each line represents 15 minutes of time. You're seeing 1.0 to 1.3 earthquakes here. Tremors. Tremors here, guys. That's unreal. That's unreal. And it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Anyway, it's going on. I want to show you what's happening. Just a second. I don't know why it's not letting me do this. Well, that's never happened before. Let me try to do something else here. Hold on. We've done this before. Oh, that's never happened. Now it's going to work. How about that? I just had to keep trying here. Just a second here. Just a second. Let's see here. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to take a quick break here. I just want to put this up here for all of you. I will be back. Okay? Give me just a second. Don't leave. I'll be back. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm definitely back. Just had to take a quick break. Anyway, Brokefish is here. Brokefish, would you like to come on live? You can call me on the phone, and you can come on live and talk to us about what fires are going on in Oregon. I would love to see you or talk to you about what's going on in Oregon. We were just starting earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest. I'd like to bring everybody up to speed when it comes to Oregon fires. Brokefish says he's been busy with fires there. Would you like to come on the air for a few minutes? doesn't have to be for very long, only just a few minutes if you like, to talk about earthquakes, because these earthquakes also cause some fires occasionally. Okay? Brokefish says he's agreeable to that. Awesome. It's awesome. Give me a call. I'd love to have you on the air now. Richard Smith is telling us about another 2.4 earthquake to hit the island of Hawaii. Folks, that's going to continue to happen. We still have not seen another lava eruption from the volcano over there in the fern forest area or over in the Leilani Estates area. I still believe that's going to happen. We're still getting a lot of earthquakes in that area. Ernie Martinez says, I need northwestern coastline. I'm in Medford, Oregon. I have friends and family up there on the coast. I'm from San Francisco, California. I lived through 1989 earthquakes, 1980 Mount St. Helens covered in ash. I agree. I will be talking to you about Mount St. Helens. I'm going to talk to you about Mount Rainier, Glacier Peak. I'm going to talk to you about Mount Hood, and I'm going to talk to you about Newberry, Sisters Volcanoes, and also Crater Lake in south central Oregon. We'll definitely do that tonight. Okay? Okay, Brokefish says he's calling now. I'm looking forward to that phone call. Okay, Brokefish, I got you on the horn here.
All right, let me get my YouTube muted. It's not a good season here in Oregon, Ron. It's just they keep coming. The current one in my area is the Dixon's Tiller Trail fire. It hit Tiller, Oregon again. That's a normal area for Oregon. So, but they get one there every year. It seems like we do too. It's not good. And I just looked at the quake map. I see one down there by Mount Iceland, but
oh yeah,
we both know there's shaking here. Wait a minute. Now here's what's this one? Another one. Oh, that's that other one. It was put out. Yeah, Tiller went 1,300 acres in 3 hours when it went off the other day. Friday, I believe it was.
1,300 acres in 3 hours. Wow.
And it's up to 1,833 just because there's road systems there when you go and look in. But in a matter of 3 hours, from the start time at 2:45 p.m. when I looked at it, it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. It was 1,300 acres.
Wow.
They were saying 15, but yesterday it got mapped better, and it turned out it was 13 that first day, and now it's up to 18. I have 4 complexes around me here, just upriver a little bit from me. We've had the Lane 1 fire. Everybody watch. I'm going to dump it in the chat. But the Watch Duty app is literally covering the 13 Western. They have included Texas and Oklahoma in this app. Everybody is starting to use this. They have the backing of the Forest Service. They even tell people, get your information here for my county. But I may, you know me, I called and had a talk with a friend of mine, and things are, I shouldn't have, but I did. I was a little mad that they weren't covering. We have so many fires that they are actually let fires go for a week here with nobody on them. I have the Homestead Complex here. I have the South Willamette Complex. I have the Diamond Lake Complex. We got that fire at Crater Lake here. The fire at Crater Lake is burning out of the park now towards the north, which is Highway 230, I believe, and I know they're road, one lane of traffic, road closure type thing. There's just fires everywhere, Ron. It's a bad year. But the lane fire, that's 4 fires burned together, and they renamed it. They went with the most northerly fire called the Lane 1 fire. That one is currently sitting at 21,658 acres. That's just over the hill from me, the other side of the ridge north of me. That's where I go up to harvest all my natural, camas and the natural herbs we use. My wife was a Native American. My good friend that's going to be here in just a little bit, he's been doing it since the 70s. The area where I go and harvest, because it's the top of the mountain, normally the best place to get stuff that doesn't have, I hate to say it, smoke all over it and dust from traffic, is that. There's also a the Willamette National Forest has a north complex and a south complex, and most people don't understand. A complex is when you have multiple fires in the same area and they put them under one command structure and use the personnel and equipment under that command structure and divide them out for all the fires they're dealing with. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like I got, let me see, Diamond Lake, Homestead, South Willamette, North Willamette. So that's 4, and there's about 25 fires under those 4. And that's not counting like the Dixon or the one in the national park. No, I think the one in the national park is being managed by Diamond Lake crew. It's getting confusing this year. It's getting confusing. We have so many fires, and they're dividing them up under all these complexes, and we have a lack of personnel. I do have a report that they're sending crews in. They've sent a 20-man crew in from Australia. I don't know if they're overhead or they're actual boots on the ground type crew, but I do know we have Australians come here every year to help with overhead. I think this is an actual hand crew.
You have a pretty large crew from here in North Carolina as well. We sent them over there about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I seen that. I don't know where they're at. I'm tracking. Oh, and just for everybody's info, please donate to the Wildland Firefighter Fund. We had a firefighter get hurt on Saturday. Justin Riley Shaw, 26-year-old dedicated firefighter, born and raised in Idaho, was in Idaho fighting fire and got hit by a tree. He's in ICU in Spokane, Washington with a traumatic brain injury. There's also a GoFundMe out there for him. I don't normally drop that stuff but there is a GoFundMe out there for him. But the Wildland Firefighter Foundation is also engaged in helping his family. The fundraiser is to help his family with him and to get back and forth, because they have to travel from Idaho up to Spokane, Washington, where he's in ICU for his brain injury. And we're all hoping he pulls through it, but he was hurt on Saturday at 9 p.m.
Wow.
Struck by a tree while engaged in initial attack operations on a new fire start on the Salmon River Ranger District. So,
wow.
Those friends that are members of my Discord, I have it posted in Discord. The article from Hot Shot Wake Up is where one of my buddies sent me that article to talk about it. But the family does have a GoFundMe, and the Wildland Firefighter Foundation is engaged with his family in helping them. And we're hoping he pulls through. Sorry to send us in another direction for a minute, but I thought you would like to know.
Oh yeah, absolutely we do. It seems at least once a year we have a firefighter from somewhere that gets hurt on the fire line. A few years ago, it was a firefighter from Sandy, Utah. I remember it because I knew the guy, and I got a call from his family.
I remember that. We've also lost a single engine air tanker. That's the small planes that do small loads.
Yes.
We had one of those die this year. I believe
Yes.
it was here in Oregon.
Yes, it was.
That was a couple weeks ago. So, this ain't the first. It's not going to be the last. There's probably people more hurt than that. Like, what was it, last year, year before, we lost that guy from Southern Oregon to a tree hit. That was right here in my area where he got hit by the tree. It's a bad point for me because I've lost so many in it.
Yeah.
For me, my first losing somebody was really early in my career, and then Storm King happened, and we lost the Primeville hot shots and the smoke jumpers, and I knew people from both. I knew one of the smoke jumpers, and I knew some of the Primeville hot shots. So it's bad, but we don't need to stay on the negative so much.
Right.
Are you seeing much on the earthquakes in Oregon? Because I'm not.
There are a lot of earthquakes all over Oregon, up and down the entire coastline. Earthquakes at the volcanoes. Naturally, the volcanoes are getting hit because the magma coming into the volcano. That's why that's happening.
And that big 7 hit Russia as a 6.5, and it's working itself around. Do you think the big one down south is related to that, or it's not related to that?
I don't think that's related. At this point,
Okay.
I have no evidence to be related to that.
All right, because I'm looking for a big one off of Alaska personally, right in Alaska along the Aleutians or somewhere in there. The last one was 6.5. It's going to be that or a magnitude lower, but I haven't seen one. Like well, you know me. I watch my own area more than elsewhere.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago we had a 5.6 over near Atka, Alaska. Well, actually, it wasn't Atka. It was Nikolsky, Alaska. A 5.6, and all that energy is still headed to the northeast, up towards Anchorage. All that energy is packing into the Gulf of Alaska, and at some point it's going to break because we can't.
Oh, and it's going to carry on down the subduction zone along Canada and into the Cascadia and the outside of Juan de Fuca too.
Yeah.
And right on down into the San Andreas and down south to the Sea of Cortez. You know the route.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the guys love them or hate them. I won't mention names, but they have proved that part. And they took some heat when they proved that part, but they have proved that that's the way the earthquakes work around this ring of fire. Some of the other stuff they say, I just got to go, okay, nice hypothesis. When you prove it, let me know. You've proved one part so far. Keep going.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna endorse you. I will endorse what you were able to bring out and finally get them to admit.
Yeah.
But the rest of your thinking, let me know when that works out. Otherwise, come on. They called all the guys back in time. Newton, he was told he was crazy till he actually was figured out how to prove what he knew.
Yeah.
All those guys. Boyle's law. All those. Before they were laws, they were ideas, hypotheses.
Yes. I agree.
All right. So what else did you want to talk about?
Hey,
Linda
Covington brought up a point here. She wanted to have you talk about your background and how you got to what you're doing today.
When I was in the 80s, the late 80s, I had been scuba diving and helped being a dive master and a rescue diver for a dive shop that took trips to Mexico. I moved up to Oregon where my grandmother was opening a sister facility to the shop that she owned part of in Arizona. She didn't want me doing nothing, so she made me join the volunteer fire department, 1988. And in 1990, 89, 90, a friend of mine that worked at the Forest Service got me a job with the Forest Service. I went to schooling because all my schooling from my fire career in structure and jaws of life and rope rescue and diving, I came out of that with a not a basic rating. And then I worked for 20 years in it, and I worked myself up to where I had a single resource crew boss rating and an IC rating of the same. I think it was 3 or 4 or something. But I kept working as a squad boss under a crew boss. I could take over the crew if I had to. I could run the whole thing. And I did that for 20 years. I went and constantly went to training because between my fire chief on the structure fire department finding the classes and getting me into them for free, my boss, I went private after my second year with the Forest Service for more money, and my boss that I worked for on the contract crew for 20 years, he would pay me to go to classes, so I actually had it pretty good for a while. I could get into the classes for free. They made me take one of the the structure company fire department trucks up there. Here, you drive this, okay? And my boss would pay for a motel room and pay me a wage to sit in classes. So I went and got a lot of classes. I've run pumps. I've run lookout. Love doing lookout. I mean, it's a love-hate relationship with all those. But I worked a hand crew. I worked a hand crew for 20 years, and I did Jaws of Life advanced training and was on a Jaws crew for like 21 years. And I just basically paid attention to what I did and kept educating myself. And it turns out I actually have knowledge I didn't know I had. I laugh about it with Catherine and a couple other people. They're like, no, you can look at a camera and tell us exactly what the fire's going to do. Stop. You know, I don't like to say I do, but you know how it goes.
Oh, I do. I understand. I don't like talking about what I've done either. But when people ask, yeah, occasionally I get into it. Go figure.
Yeah. I mean, I still have anxiety every year in March. March it starts for me. April it really gets going because I'm used to going to work on fires, and now I just help the pages and I help people, and I just get the information out there because I got to be doing something. It keeps my mind busy. No, I got hurt on a fire. I got hit with the big branch.
Yeah.
Wow, a commercial in the middle of your video.
Go figure. I hate that when that happens.
That's okay. That helps you. That means they're pushing your channel at the time.
I hope so.
So is there any other questions I could answer?
Guys, if you put your questions up here in the chat, I'll make sure Brokefish talks about it because he's the expert when it comes to fire. Yes, I used to be a volunteer firefighter a lot of years ago before I was a police officer, but Brokefish has been a firefighter for a very long time. I was a firefighter way back in the 70s, and then I transferred over to police work in the mid-80s, and that's what I did. I assisted firefighters, don't get me wrong. Cops assist firefighters all day long. But it's good to have Brokefish in here. Brokefish is a dear friend of mine. We've been friends for quite a few years now. But he's a real deal. He's an awesome man. He knows his stuff. When he's talking about fires, he's talking about it from experience. He's on top of it. He's watching what's going on. And when he sees something, he reports it and gets people help. That's the one thing that Brokefish has always done. He's making sure that people and the firefighters themselves also get help. So it's great to have him on the air with me. Didn't we have you on the air a couple of years ago?
I can't remember. I know I call you after shows usually. I don't like to interrupt your show. If there's something really important, I will leave a message during your show, but you know how that goes. I try not to bug you. And Ron, you've taught me so much too. I mean, I read the graphs I read and have an understanding of them now because of you and Mary Greeley.
Yeah. Mary Greeley's awesome too. You can't help but love that lady. She and I are friends too. But hey,
I've never personally got to talk to Mary, but yeah.
She helped me get my channel started 5.5 years ago, and when I got to 25,000 subscribers, she sent me a note, and she actually has been on the air once. So I love her. She's been great. She's been great.
Oh, I shout her out to all my friends.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I like to shout out Catherine, our friend Catherine's World.
Yeah.
Wildfire tracking. Catherine's doing a good job. She got into it. She's not a firefighter, but she got into it under a strange way. But she has a bunch of us backing her. I've been on her show several times the same way I am now, where I'm looking at a camera with her and go, well, this is what that's going to do. I can't tell you when, but that's what it's going to do. And I get a call going, damn it, would you stop being right? From one of my friends. I'm like, what? They're like, that fire you thought was going to go later in the morning, it's already done it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. It was moving faster than I seen, but I wasn't watching that fire particularly long. There's too many to watch. We don't always have cameras on them.
Yeah, it's unreal. Anyway, partner, I'll let you go. I want to talk about some of these earthquakes.
Am I JD? Oh, Heather. I know Hurricane Heather.
Yes. Yeah. Hurricane Heather's good people. Anyway, it's a pleasure talking to you, my friend. Let's talk another time real soon.
And if you guys need info, my Discord link is in all my descriptions of my channels. I have more than one platform. And just come into the Discord. Use the same name you use on YouTube to sign up if you don't have an account. And me or my brother, the Gunny, are always monitoring Discord. I will answer your questions. I will show you cameras if I can. If I have to, I go live. You know that, Ron.
Yep.
And thank you for having me. And sorry for the little bit of interruption to the show.
No problem.
I haven't. They're so focused on fires. The last thing I see close to me is that earthquake at Mount Ashland. And that was it this week. I can't tell you exactly. I didn't look exactly when. There's another one at Shasta that nobody's talking about, right outside Mount Shasta. Yeah.
It's a good size. It's a small earthquake, but it's still a good size earthquake. We'll be talking about that tomorrow.
Okay.
So.
Well, I will let you go. I was looking at that swarm just to let you know down in the LA area. That looks exciting. I want to see what you have to say about it. Thank you for letting me come up, and I will talk to you later, my brother.
All right, brother. Have a great one. Good talking to you.
You too.
See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was Brokefish, guys. He's been a very dear friend of mine for several years now. We talk about firefighting. We talk about fires. We talk about earthquakes and volcanoes and everything else. He's awesome. He's awesome. There are times that I wish that we lived closer because I would love to have him over for dinner or lunch and talk all day long because that's exactly what would happen. That's exactly what would happen. Anyway, I want to get back up here and show you what's going on in the Pacific Northwest. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time, but this is Olympic Peak. I showed you 3 earthquakes here at Olympic Peak. What they don't show you, they showed you a bunch of tremors basically at Olympic Peak. But they did not show you these other minor earthquakes and a small earthquake up here early this morning. Okay? They didn't show it to you. Actually, not this morning, but late last night. They didn't show it to you. All they showed you was a bunch of tremors. They never show the truth. They have a habit of never showing the truth at all. Okay? Now, I'm just going to show you earthquakes at the volcanoes tonight. Okay? At the volcanoes. I showed you this one at Mount Baker. Okay? This is Baker Kendall. This is actually another altitude peak at Mount Baker. Okay? I want to show you Shuxon. This is Shuxon. Now, folks, this isn't just Shuxon. This is on the north side of Mount Baker. This is a ski resort. What I'm showing you here are VLF waves. These waves are caused by magma entering the volcano. They are not showing you all that is happening at Mount Baker. They're just not going to do it. They used to do it, but they're not going to do it anymore because they know that I'm putting this out on the air. Sorry about that. I got some sinus stuff going on. But these VLF waves are proof positive that the magma is coming into the volcano, and in this case, coming in the volcano very strongly. You can guarantee there are earthquakes here. You can guarantee there are some earthquakes here, but they're not showing them all here either. But on the other seismographs, they're not showing anything at all. Occasionally, maybe a 2.4, 2.5 earthquake, that's all. They're just not showing them. But the VLF waves, the very low frequency waves generated by the magma, are saying a completely different story than what they're saying on the other seismograms. These VLF waves indicate a lot of magma, and a lot of magma causes earthquake rock fracturing. Rock fracturing inside the volcanic chamber is called earth movement. Earth movement. So there are earthquakes happening here at Mount Baker, and Mount Baker is also getting ready to erupt. Regardless of what they want to say otherwise, you can see proof positive by this seismogram here. This is an awful lot of magma activity at Mount Baker. In fact, it's probably the most activity I've seen at Mount Baker in the 5.5 years that I've been doing the show. Now, early this morning, let me zoom in here. I want to show you another aspect here, right here. We're seeing some earthquakes. 6:30 this morning. 6:33 this morning, we're having some earthquakes at Mount Baker. Look at that. The earthquakes didn't stop, though. The earthquakes continued until 12 minutes after that. 6:42 a.m. 6:42 a.m. That is 11 minutes worth of earthquake activity all at once. 11 minutes of earthquake activity all at once. That's a lot. That's a lot. This is Mount Baker, up near Canada. Yes, there are people living in that forested area. There are a lot of people living here. But do you think they care to tell you the truth of what's going on? No, they don't. I don't think they'll ever be truthful about what's going on. But Mount Baker's getting ready to go. I do have pictures of steam coming from Mount Baker. Just because the mountain steams does not mean it's getting ready to blow. That's not the case at all. However, if you ever see gray steam coming from that volcano, you can darn well better believe that there is some ash mixed in with that steam, which means that volcano summit has opened up. That would only indicate that the volcanic summit has opened up, and it's not just throwing white to gray steam, but it's throwing ash into the air as well. That's what you can tell by that. Now let's go south to Glacier Peak. Glacier Peak is about 45 miles southwest of Mount Baker. What are we seeing here? What are we seeing here? We're seeing earthquakes. Earthquakes. Yes, we're also seeing some steam elements here too. For example, this long, straight, vertical line here, it's got a curlicue on it. This is last night. This is 18:04 hours, 6:04 p.m. last night. It's not just one steam signal. Even though they may show only one steam signal here, this volcano is also steaming. And you can see these other curlicues here as well. This volcano is steaming. You're also seeing some earthquakes here. You're also seeing some earthquakes. Now I want to pull down here to the bottom right hand side. Down here at the bottom you're also seeing a bunch of steam signals. Those are steam signatures. Long vertical lines with curlicues. Now, whenever you see any kind of vertical line that does not have a dot in the middle of it, it is a steam signal. If it's a vertical line with a dot in it, it is an earthquake. It is an earthquake. But there's something else important here that I want to show you. Over here on the far right hand side. This is a magma churn signal. A magma churn signal. The magma churn signals are typically 23 to 24 lines long. Look how long these lines are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is less than 25% of real world. This magma churn signal, these vertical lines, should be 23 to 24 lines high. This is less than a quarter. Less than a quarter of what it should be. That means this particular seismograph that recorded the seismogram here has been turned basically almost off. This seismogram has been basically almost turned off. Meaning what we're seeing in terms of earthquakes here. Those are larger earthquakes because the earthquake has a signal strength and it didn't quite live up to it turning down. In other words, it didn't show its full strength here because the seismologist decided he didn't want to show anybody how strong these earthquakes were. So he turned the thing down. Even though he turned it down, the magma churn signal still made its way through the turn down and showed us how strong this seismic signal is. It's way down. Not even 25% of real world. So these earthquakes are like 4 times larger than they're showing. They're 4 times larger than they're showing. And Glacier Peak has only one seismograph that's recording data. Last year, 2 years ago, we were told they were going to put up 5 more seismographs on this mountain. They have not done that, for whatever the reason. I know they've had a hard time getting money and getting past the environmentalists in Washington, D.C. The environmentalists told congressmen, oh, you can't put a seismograph on the mountain because we might harm a marmot. We might scare a marmot. Really? It takes a lot to scare a marmot. Even putting up these big machines wouldn't scare marmots necessarily. It might scare them for a little while until the geologists get through installing the seismograph. Then the geologists are gone. There's no more disturbing anybody. Okay? But that's the story that I got 2 years ago, that they were having a hard time getting past the environmentalists in D.C. Terrible. Terrible. We have a very valid volcano here, a very active volcano. And yet the daggum environmentalists won't get past the idea that this volcano could erupt at any time. And it could. It could. That's why the geologists want to put up these seismographs on the mountain, because there's only one seismograph right now. I'm hoping and praying that we can get past these environmentalists and get these machines on the mountain. We need them. We definitely need them. We cannot let this keep going like it is. We can't let this keep going like it is. Anyway, that's Glacier Peak. Let's keep going here. The next one I want to show you is Mount Rainier. Wait till you see this, guys. Wait till you see this. This is Camp Sherman. Camp Sherman is on the upper side of the north side of the mountain. The upper north flank of Mount Rainier. Look what we're seeing here. Earthquakes up the yazoo. Literally. Earthquakes everywhere. We see tremors everywhere. Tremors. Now remember what the USGS is showing on the map? Very little. Maybe 3 or 4 tremors and microquakes. Usually they show us nothing but microquakes. Microquakes are these tiny marks on any individual line here. Those are called microquakes or minor earthquakes. Okay, that's what they are. And some of these just tiny marks on these lines are actually tremors. But they're only talking about microquakes and tremors on the map. There's a lot more going on than microquakes and tremors, as you can see. Okay? Again, Mount Rainier is getting ready to erupt. How about this magma churn signal here? Let's look at this. This magma churn signal, again, should be 23 to 24 lines high. Let's count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 lines high. Almost 50%. 46% of real world here. 46% of real world. At least we're getting almost 50%. I'll take that. I'll take that. Because most seismograms here are dull. Only because the seismologists don't want to show us what's going on. Heaven forbid they would have to explain themselves. Yes, we are seeing a bunch of tremors here. Obvious. We're also seeing minor earthquakes. 2.0 to 2.9 earthquakes. Over here to the right of that magma churn signal, attached to it are vertical lines here. Those are steam signals. Those are steam signals that are associated with this volcano. And of course, Mount Rainier is steaming. Off to the right of that on the blue lines, we're actually having some earthquakes. That first blue line earthquake here is like a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. The next one off to the right is a lot larger. This would be probably a 3.2, 3.3 earthquake. That's a big deal. That is a very big deal. Now let me reduce this thing in this seismogram a little bit in size. We're also seeing steam signals. That one over here on the black line here to the right here, the vertical line with the curly Q, it's a steam signal. You see other steam signals here as well. We're seeing minor earthquakes here. Minor earthquakes. Down towards the bottom, today, this morning. This morning here. Let me enlarge this again for a minute. Okay? Just after 9 a.m. this morning, about 9:10 a.m., 9:09 this morning, we have a 3.0 earthquake. A 3.0 earthquake. All the other earthquakes here are tremors. Tremors, actually not all a tremor, but all the other earthquakes are minor earthquakes. 2.0 to 2.9. 2.0, 2.9. However, that magma churn signal also means that these earthquakes might possibly be twice the size of what they are put here. Okay, so these 2.0, 2.4 earthquakes could actually be 3.0 earthquakes. And that 3.0 earthquake may have been as much as a 3.5 to 3.7 Small earthquake. Mount St. Helens is getting ready to erupt, whether anybody wants to acknowledge that or not. Plain simple. Plain simple. That's the honest to gosh truth. Let's bring up another seismogram so you can see what I'm talking about. All right. Let's go over to Mount Rainier Gateway. Mount Rainier Gateway is over on the north side of the volcano. This is a ranger station. This seismograph is located at a ranger station here, Mount Rainier National Park. Well, guess what? Look at all this activity here. Look at all this activity. USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network say nothing's going on. Look at all these earthquakes and tremors. Almost completely filling the seismogram. Almost completely filling the seismogram. And you can see these individual lines here. Magma coming into the magma chamber. No, it's not obliterating the lines here. If you saw 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 lines obliterated with nothing but color, yes, you would know for a fact that there is a lot of magma coming into Mount Rainier. In this case, you still see magma coming into Mount Rainier. It's called magma pulse signals. Magma pulse signals. Magma PULSE signals. The thicker the line, the more magma coming into the magma chamber. But we're seeing tremors here. We're seeing minor earthquakes. 2.0 earthquakes, basically. And tremors here. Nothing but tremors here. Okay? That's what we're seeing on this particular seismogram at Gateway, Mount Rainier. Okay? Let's show you another one. Okay, I want to go down to Mount Hood. Or not Hood, Mount St. Helens. We spent a lot of time here talking about other things tonight, including that earthquake in California and other earthquakes happening in California. My primary responsibility tonight was the Pacific Northwest. Tomorrow night we're going to continue with the Pacific Northwest, showing you the slow slip along the coastline. What I'm basically showing you tonight is just the volcanoes. Just the volcanoes. Going over to Mount St. Helens. I'm going to start with East Dome Mount St. Helens. This is the primary seismogram that the USBS or the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network want people to see. East Dome Mount St. Helens. Look what's happening here. Okay? Yes, we're seeing a bunch of tremors here. Little tiny tremors. But that blue line over here in the center top, that is a 2.7 earthquake. 2.7 minor earthquake. Down at the bottom here, this is just a little bit different. This is 11:03 a.m. this morning. This is a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake at Mount St. Helens. That is significant. Yes, the USBS tries to tell us today that all that happened at Mount St. Helens are tremors and minor earthquakes. That's bull. That's bull. This is a 2.9 earthquake. There's more. There's more, guys. Regardless of what the agency says, there's usually some more to talk about here. Let's get to it. Okay? Good old Mount St. Helens. It doesn't stop. Let's go from East Dome to September Lobe. I just love this. This proves to us that what they're trying to feed us is bull. What they're trying to feed us is bull. This seismogram shows that. This is September Lobe VLF waves. September Lobe BHN sat channel here. Okay? This is showing us a lot of data here. The tighter the vertical waves here, the more earthquakes there are going to be. The tighter the VLF waves, the more magma that's coming into the magma chamber of this volcano. If the magma chamber is full like this, we're going to have earthquakes because there's going to be rock fracturing being done inside the volcano, because that's a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber. So Mount St. Helens should be seeing rock fracturing and a lot of earthquakes. But over at East Dome, it only showed us one earthquake. That was later this afternoon. But as you can see, Mount St. Helens is very busy. Mount St. Helens is very, very busy. This is a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber at this volcano. Be advised of that. They may try to tell you otherwise, but they are lying to do it. Sad. Sad. Now I'm going to show you sugar loaf or sugar bowl. Look at this. Indeed, more earthquakes. Indeed, we're having tremors here. But again, they're not showing us the active portion of the seismogram, are they? They're only showing us one earthquake during the time that the active area of the magma was coming into the volcano. Unreal. And that is only a 2.8 earthquake. 2.8 earthquake. What happened earlier today? Or actually not earlier today, but last night. Just after 6 p.m. we see a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. On the black line just after 1800 hours. 6 p.m. Then after 7 p.m. about 6 or 7 minutes after 7 p.m. again, we have a 2.0, 2.1 minor earthquake. Then over here on the blue line, after 10:30 last night. After 10:30 last night. We come over here. Folks, this is about 10:41 p.m. A 2.8 earthquake. That's nearly a small earthquake. A 2.8 earthquake could probably be felt by very sensitive people. A 3.0, 3.5, it's lucky if people feel it. But a 3.5 and larger can be felt. Okay? What about these other horizontal lines here? That's a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber. We're also seeing tremors here. Tremors. As the magma comes into the magma chamber of any volcano, it's going to fracture rock. When it fractures the rock, we're calling for earthquakes and or tremors. That's what we're seeing happen here. Rock fracturing causing earthquakes and tremors. Let's keep going. Let's drop down to Mount Hood. Mount Hood is in northern Oregon. Tim Bellwood just gave us another $20 super chat. Tim, thank you so much. I haven't heard from Tim in a while. Tim is also a good friend of mine, a good friend of the channel. I appreciate you, Tim. He says, "Hi, Ron. Thank you for your hard work. ST. August." God bless you, Tim. Thank you for that very much. I just gave you an EMA sticker on your super chat, and I'm going to give you a thumbs up like I just now. God bless you, Tim. We appreciate that so much. Helps us keep the lights on here at the area command. Does. It helps us keep this channel on the air. Thank you so much. Anyway, let's drop down to Mount Hood. Mount Hood is busy. Mount Hood is busy. The last time I saw it this busy, the USGS actually issued a watch for a volcano. They actually put up a yellow advisory for a volcanic eruption. Look what's sitting here. Last night, at the top after 5 p.m., we saw a lot of tremor activity. That means a lot of magma was coming into Mount Hood. Okay? That's what we're seeing here. Then it dwindled off. Now, You see these horizontal lines here. That is magma coming into the magma chamber. Just because there's no color here doesn't mean necessarily that the volcano is not under some kind of stress from magma coming into the volcano. They probably turned down the seismograph. Turning down the seismograph. All we're seeing here after, say, 7 o'clock last night, all we're seeing here is dim activity. That probably means they turned down the device, turned down the seismograph. The activity after that is activity that made its way through the electronic turn down. Laura Marie just gave us another $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Laura. We appreciate that so much. She says, you are amazing. Wow. Laura Marie, thank you so much. God bless you for that. Laura Marie is a very dear friend of mine from a long time ago. Laura and her husband are very close friends of mine. I appreciate that. God bless you, Laura. Tell John hi for me. You guys are great. Anyway, this morning, after 7 a.m., look what happened this morning. And it continued on through this afternoon. That is an awful lot of magma coming into Mount Hood. That is an awful lot of magma coming into Mount Hood. It's completely obliterating the lines on the seismogram. You don't see any white at all from about 6:30 on. From 6:30 on into this afternoon, it's completely obliterated it. That means this volcano is active. This volcano is very active. And this volcano is probably on a volcanic watch. Okay? Renee Steffi says, that looks scary. It really is. To see this like this at Mount Hood, oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's something to be concerned about. And so far, as of earlier this afternoon, USGS has not issued a volcanic advisory. That's on them. Because I just got through showing you what's going on at Mount Hood. Now, over at Mount Hood, there's also just northeast of Mount Hood, a place called Shell Rock. Laura Marie's probably been there. Look what's going on here at Shell Rock. These are tremors. These are tremors and minor earthquakes all day long here. All day long. This only means that that volcano is very, very active. Very active. These VLF lines don't just go nowhere. They continued all day long today, and I think they're still continuing now. Okay? Shell Rock, Mount Hood. I think I have another one. Yes, I do. This is the upper northwest side of Mount Hood. This is Palmer Lift. Palmer Lift. Again, just like Timberline, we're basically seeing the same thing. Okay? A lot more magma activity here. If it had just been last night, as you see on the top of this seismograph, that would have been one thing. My belief is that they probably turned down the seismograph because this kind of activity just doesn't stop. This kind of activity continues. Okay? So I'm asking the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, and I'm going to ask the USGS to stop lying to us. Show us actual activity. Show us what's really going on and stop hiding the activity at all. Because that's what you're doing. You continue lying to the public. And someday sometime, somewhere, it's going to stop and you're going to get bit in the butt. You're going to get bit in the butt. Unreal. Let's drop down south of Mount Hood. I want to take you to Bachelor Volcano. For 2 to 3 years, Bachelor Volcano didn't show us anything. They turned off the seismograph. They turned off the seismograph at Bachelor Volcano. Look what it's like today. This is what it's been like for about 4 days now. This is what it's been looking like for 4 days. Top to bottom, side to side activity. I don't believe we've had a full-blown earthquake here. These are all tremors. This is just tremor activity here. We've not seen this in a very long time. So Bachelor is getting ready to move. Yes, these are tremors, but tremors lead to earthquakes. And earthquakes lead to eruptions. That's what I'm going to say. Side to side, top to bottom, magma signals here. This is magma coming into the magma chamber. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about Bachelor Volcano? Again, it's been dead. They've had this seismograph turned down so bad it rarely showed anything. And now this is one of the first times I've seen it this high. Like I said, for the past 4 days, they've had it turn back up. I hope they don't turn it down again. That's my prayer. I hope they don't turn it down again. Everybody needs to know what's going on. I'm going to jump down now to Newberry Volcano. Newberry Volcano is one of my favorites. Okay? Look at this. This is Sichel. This is Sichel. Why am I showing it to you? Look at all the activity. Look at all the activity here. Newberry Volcano is also very busy. Judging by the looks of it, Newberry Volcano should be achieving the order of advisory. The order of advisory. They should need to say, oh my gosh, there is enough activity to order a volcanic advisory. At least a watch for further activity, at the very least. Okay? We haven't seen this activity like this in at least 3 years, maybe more. The last time we saw activity at Bachelor of any kind was about 3.5 years ago. Then they turned the seismograph off. They turned the seismograph off. Okay? Nothing. There was nothing across any one line. Nothing. Now they turn it back on and look what happened. I hope they learned a lesson. Because again, this kind of activity could lead to a eruption at this volcano. Bachelor Volcano. Let's continue on. Let's continue south over to, actually that's Newberry. I'm sorry, I showed you Bachelor before. This is Newberry. Let's go further south. Let's look at Sisters Volcano. Look at this. Sisters Volcano looks similar in appearance. Again, magma is coming into all the volcanoes. Magma is reaching all the volcanoes, and as a result, we're seeing more and more magma activity, and we're seeing more and more earthquakes and tremors. Tremors are earthquakes as well, but we're seeing that here. We're seeing that here. As magma comes into the magma chamber, it fractures rock, which cause the earthquakes. Magma coming into the magma chamber fractures rock and causes earthquakes. That's what we're seeing here. Okay? Sisters Volcano. There's another one here. Actually, there's many other volcanoes here in Oregon and Washington. I'm showing you the main ones. I'm showing you the main ones. I want to show you Crater Lake. I'm first going to show you Cleetwood Cove. The Cleetwood Cove seismograph is sitting over on the northeast side of the volcano. So let's look at Cleetwood Cove. Okay? Again, this volcano doesn't look like it's on an advisory status, but I think it's getting there, considering all this activity that we're seeing here. Again, they have been turning this seismograph completely off. They had this completely off for about a month or so. Maybe they were just doing maintenance. I don't think so, though. They've been going like this for a long time. Up at the top of this, we're seeing a lot of magma. These are tremors caused by the magma coming into the volcano here, Crater Lake. The same thing holds true for the bottom of this seismogram. The same thing holds true for the bottom of the seismogram. Look at that. Tremors and minor earthquakes. Tremors and minor earthquakes here at Cleetwood Cove, Crater Lake. There's also a seismograph sitting over on the southeast side of Crater Lake. It's called Mount Scott. Mount Scott has been turned off today. For whatever reason, they've turned off the seismograph. Don't know why. Don't know why. They've been doing it a lot lately. Sometimes they even turn off Cleetwood Cove. They did that a few weeks ago, and all they had left was the bunkhouse. Let's take a look at the bunkhouse tonight. Look at this. Here we're seeing a lot of tremors. A lot of tremors. As the magma comes into the volcano, the lines get thicker. As there's less magma, the lines get thinner here. Yes, we see both. Okay? What's that called? Magma pulse signals. Magma pulse signals. The thinner lines turning into thicker lines, turning into thinner lines again. Magma pulse signals. The thicker the lines, the more magma coming into the volcano, and the chance that there will be large earthquakes. All we're seeing here are tremors. That's the only thing that we're seeing on this particular seismogram. We're seeing lots and lots of tremors, though. It would not surprise me to see at least 100 plus tremors here. Yes, that's very possible. 100 plus tremors. Does anybody have any questions for me? I've shown you all the seismograms, most of the seismograms, I shouldn't say all, but most of the seismograms in Washington and Oregon. Another 4.4 earthquake in the Turkey-Syria border region. Can anybody tell me why? Does anybody really remember what I said a few weeks ago when we had a lesson on the earthquakes in the Turkey-Syria border region? A lot of earthquakes, huh? A ton of earthquakes. A ton of earthquakes. Let me turn off my mug and this banner here. These are the 5.005 earthquake over in Pasadena, California today. We're also showing you the tremors hitting here. We're showing you the tremors hitting here. This is very significant, guys. This is very significant. Oh, don't tell me. USGS shut down my USGS feed here. Just a second, guys. It won't take me long to bring up this feed here.
Earthquake downgraded to 4.2 from 4.1. Location Jordan, Syria region last like 7 minutes ago.
So they downgrade that earthquake again from 4.4 to 4.2. Such a deal. Unreal. Anyway, you see the earthquakes here in California. All the way up to Oregon and Washington. All the way up to Oregon and Washington. Okay? Let me show you this. Over here to the coast. The Pacific Northwest. Right here. Glacier Peak, Washington. This is a 1.1 tremor. Didn't we show you a bunch of tremors and a couple earthquakes at Glacier Peak? Glacier Peak, Washington, 1.1 tremor. This is Abbotsford, Canada. Abbotsford, Canada. This is a 1.0 tremor there. Going down to Vancouver Island. Friday Harbor, Washington. This is a 0.3 microquake. Again, they're showing us microquakes here. Further south here, Southworth, Washington. 1.8. 1.8. Why are they not showing us Mount Rainier? They're not showing us anything in Mount Rainier today. Deer Island, Oregon here. Deer Island, Oregon. This is a 1.7 tremor. Further over here to the east, this is northeast of Los Center, Washington. Guess what? This is a supposed explosion. This is a supposed explosion. It's not an explosion. It is absolutely not an explosion, guys. I'm zooming into it to show you what's going on here. It's in a forested area. It's in very much a forested area. This is not an explosion unless they're exploding trees. Spontaneous combustus carnivorous, exploding trees. It's not happening. It's not happening. Just south of that supposed explosion, there's a small house there. There's a small house. There are several buildings here. Several homes here in this area. They're not going to have an explosion here without problems. Even though this is a 0.8 microquake, guess what? That's what it is. It's not an explosion, and I wish USGS would get its head out of its butt and stop labeling any of these as explosions unless they can prove it. And they can't. They absolutely can't. Mount Rainier here to the north. Nothing here. But I just showed you Mount Rainier full of earthquakes and tremors. Down here to the south, Mount St. Helens here, full of earthquakes and tremors. Also Mount Adams here to the right here. Mount Adams here to the right. Mount Adams has a bunch of tremors there. Out east of Mount Adams here. This is a 1.3 tremor out here. Bickleton, Washington. Bickleton, Washington. Mount Hood, they're not showing anything there, but I show you what's going on. Again, they are lying to the public. Omitting data is lying to the public. Plain and simple. Lying to the public. Let's go across the oceans here. Past over here in the Atlantic here. We can go over here. The first stop I want to make is over here to Greece. We've had some earthquakes here in Greece today. This is a 4.1 here. This is a 4.1 here in Keras, Greece. Actually 4.3, I'm sorry, 4.3. This is a 4.5 in Sarti, Greece. Sarti, Greece. 10 kilometers deep, both of these. Okay? Now, let's go over here. Okay? This earthquake here. Syria border region here. Just north of there, northwest of there is Turkey. This is on the Anatolian Fault. On the Anatolian Fault. The problem here is they're not showing all the other earthquakes that hit this area. This is a large 5.0 earthquake. A large 5.0 earthquake. This is also 10 kilometers deep. Interesting enough. But again, they're not showing all the earthquakes. Why? Why can they not show us what's going on? That's always been my question. Why are they not showing us everything going on? Let me show you something. Look here. Look here, guys. Look at all these earthquakes in the Syria-Turkey border region. Right there. Right there. There's where the 5.0 earthquake hit right here. Look at all those earthquakes. These are aftershocks. These are aftershocks of that earthquake. All the rest of these are aftershocks of the 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that happened here February 3rd last year. They're aftershocks of the February 3rd earthquake last year. These are 2.0, 3.5, and 4.5, 4.4 earthquakes. Okay? Aftershocks of those earthquakes. They're not talking to us and being honest with us. They can't do that. They can't do that. Right here. You can see that large earthquake here in the violet here. You can see that large earthquake in the violet here. That is the 5.0 earthquake. I'm having problems with this. Let me turn my other hand here. This is the 5.0 earthquake right there. All the rest of these are aftershocks. All the rest of those are aftershocks, guys. It's sad that they can't be honest with us. They cannot be honest with us. Okay? Aftershocks. Just to the north, a 3.3. Just to the west of that, a 4.0. Just to the south of that, a 3.5. Okay? Out east of that earthquake, we have a 4.4. We have a 4.4 right there. All those earthquakes are aftershocks. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 aftershocks from the earthquake here a year and a half ago. February 3rd last year. 10 earthquakes. 10 earthquakes. Unreal. Unreal. And they keep on coming. They keep on coming. Does anybody have any questions about anything that you want to ask me? Does anybody have any questions about anything that you want to ask me? Catherine, God bless you for helping your friend. You're doing a human's job. God bless you for that. I've done that myself for friends of mine and also my father and my mother. right up to the time they died. Damon Cameron says the depth of the supposed explosion usually gives it away as being an earthquake, tremor, or microquake. You're absolutely right. It's unreal. They think that they can just tell us, oh, it's just a microquake. Oh, it's just an explosion. It's not. It's absolutely not. Catherine is asking for prayers for her friend. Catherine, what is the first name of your friend? What is the first name of your friend so we can pray for her? Sharon. Everyone, can you add Sharon to your prayer roll tonight? Add Sharon to your prayers tonight. I'm sure she would really appreciate it. It's too bad she has to go with a broken hip and have pain throughout her body. And that kind of pain, a broken hip, is debilitating pain. Renee is asking, what about earthquakes in Iceland? This time earthquakes in Iceland are literally in the center and the north and the west, south, or western south part of the island of Iceland. Up here off the northwest coast, Grimsey here. Okay? We've had earthquakes out here as well. Grimsey is an island just off the northwest coast of Iceland. That is a 2.4 earthquake. 2.4 earthquake. This one over here in the east central part of Iceland, this is Suðurbotnar. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. 2.0 earthquake here. One other earthquake here. Okay? This is near Borealis. This is a 2.60 earthquake. This is a 2.60 earthquake. Now, for those of you that have seen us talking about what's going on over in the Reykjanes Peninsula, we've been talking about a lot going on. We've been talking about the scientists saying there's going to be another eruption over in the Reykjanes Peninsula. It hasn't happened yet. It has not happened yet. Now, I want to show you Grindavik. This is the town of Grindavik. 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, they evacuated the town of Grindavik. Grindavik had about 3,000 people that lived here. 3,000 people that lived here. What happened? Right over about here, we had a volcanic eruption. A great big huge fissure eruption just on the west side of Grindavik. Those volcanic eruptions continued. The first one was November 7th last year. November 7th last year. It was about right here. Okay? The second one after that is what really stopped the traffic. Grindavik remained vacant until right before Christmas. There was another volcanic eruption in the beginning of December, and that was two different eruptions. The first, again, was a fissure eruption. The second one was more like a volcanic eruption because the magma from that second eruption actually came into the town of Grindavik. It burned down 3 homes on the outskirts of Grindavik. I'm going to show you right here. Burned down 3 homes on the outskirts of Grindavik right there. Sad. After that, the authorities started not just keeping the town evacuated, but they actually built a huge wall around the town of Grindavik. They built a huge wall around the entire town of Grindavik. All the way around here, all the way around here. Since then, no magma has gotten into the town of Grindavik. No magma has gotten into the town of Grindavik. Now, let me see if I can do this. Most of the time, I cannot get into close enough range. I'm going to try to get in here. Okay, there's Greenvik right there. Let me take down my mug here because you guys don't need to see my face here. They built a wall around Greenvik here, all the way around. Since that time, there's been more eruptions. After Christmas last year, there was another eruption the first part of January, the end of January, first part of February, end of February, middle of March, April. Since April, there's been only one eruption. One eruption. Now, I want to show you also something else, in case there may be somebody new here. Folks, this is a power plant. This is a geothermal power plant. The Icelandic people have drilled into the upper magma chambers of the volcano to obtain steam to give power to the island of Iceland, and also to take the water from the water table and the volcano and pump it out to the inhabitants of Iceland. That's how they keep their homes warm, and that's how they also have hot water to their homes. Okay? Because of this big geothermal plant, and there's one other one over near the capital of Greenland, or Iceland, capital of Iceland. Okay? Just west of the capital, Reykjavik, Iceland. Now, over here to the west side of the power plant here is called the Blue Lagoon Spa. The Blue Lagoon Spa. Underneath the Blue Lagoon and the power plant here is a magma chamber, a huge reservoir here of magma. The reservoir is growing. The reservoir is growing. As a result of the reservoir growing, the land here that this power plant and the Blue Lagoon Spa has been rising up. Rising up. The GPS measurements that were taken by the scientists show the land rise here, meaning the magma is causing the land rise here. They are surmising that because of that land rise, that they're expecting another eruption here imminently. About 4.5 weeks ago, they were saying it could happen within the next 3 weeks. It still hasn't happened. That means that this magma here is just about ready to go. In the past 6 months, the magma has gone from that reservoir out here. It's erupted out here in this area. The next eruption, they say, may also happen further north and to the west of Greenvik, probably up here. This is a volcano here. I think this is called Bundabubar. But right here in this area where this road is, they expect a fissure eruption here. We've been having or seen earthquakes in this area. That is why they believe the earthquakes are caused by magma here. That means the magma has come through a dike, meaning it's forced its way through the bedrock here and developed its own magma chamber. We may see another fissure eruption out here. It was supposed to have happened weeks ago. It hasn't done that. It hasn't done that. We hope it doesn't. But given the size of that magma chamber beneath the Smartsengi power plant and the Blue Lagoon Spa, it's very possible we could have another volcanic eruption out here imminently, any day. any day and any hour. That's what's going on here. Renee, thank you for that question. That's why I decided to come out here and talk to you all again. It's important. It's important everybody realize what's going on, because there's a lot of lives in the balance here. A lot of lives in the balance here. Catherine, we're going to pray for you, and we're also going to pray for your friend Sharon. God bless her. God bless her. Brothers and sisters, this is the end of our program. However, before you leave, I want to read you some scriptures. I've been sharing scriptures with you for a long time now. I've been not just sharing scriptures, I've been sharing devotionals. I share devotionals here because I care. Because each one of us needs to understand God in our own lives. We need to understand that God loves us. And many times, we forget about it. And I don't know why we forget about it. But God loves each one of us. God wants to bless us. Sometimes He works through people like Catherine, ready, willing, and to help their neighbors, their friends. As God told us in the scriptures, literally all throughout the scriptures, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, even over here in, excuse me just a second. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to share a scripture with you. And one of the reasons I want to share this scripture with you is because I felt it a good scripture to share with you, given what Catherine Sigerson is having to go through, and we've all done it. Most of us have also helped each other. Now, one of the things we need to know in the scriptures, we need to get rid of all bitterness. Let all bitterness, wrath, and anger, and clamor, and evil speaking be put away from you, with all malice. The scriptures teach us here in Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 32. And be ye kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you. He hath forgiven us. He's forgiven us, and He's asked us to love one another. In Ephesians chapter 5, Paul goes even further. Just a second. Paul goes even further here. He says, walk in love. Walk in love, as Christ hath also loved us, and hath given Himself for us, an offering, and Himself an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling savor. The Lord is asking us to walk in love for everybody. Walk in love for everybody. For everyone. Christ showed us love tenderly throughout the scriptures. He showed us tender love throughout His mission here on this earth. He helped everybody. He helped everybody, brothers and sisters, and that's what we need to be doing. That's exactly what we need to be doing. Now, I'm going to start offering a prayer right now for Sharon. Would everyone here join me in prayer? Heavenly Father, we're very thankful to get together this evening to share information and to join in love and prayer for each other. Heavenly Father, we ask Thee now to bless our friend Sharon. Bless her that she may find medical help soon, that she might be returned to some form of health in a better situation than she's in. Please, Heavenly Father, bless her. Bless her with health and strength. Bless her with willingness of spirit to seek help and to get better. Bless her with strength and love in her life. Please bless our friend Catherine, member of our EMA family. Please bless her with health and strength also, that she can continue helping Sharon. May God bless us all. Please, Heavenly Father, bless us all. We need Thee. We give Thee thanks for all of our many blessings that Thou hast given us. The opportunity we have to be together every night like we're here tonight. God bless us. Heavenly Father, we love Thee. We love Thy Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. We're grateful for the example that He set for us and His sacrifice for each one of us so we can return to Thee. Heavenly Father, we ask Thee to bless us now as we depart this program, that we may have happiness and love in our lives, that we may share many great blessings together. Father, thank You for those friends and family members that have helped us with donations as well. We pray for that. We want to keep this program on the air, Father. Please help us do that. Again, thank You for all of our many blessings. And we ask these things humbly in the name of Thy beloved Son, even Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate all of you. God be with you until we meet again. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back with you as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, have a great one. Be safe and love each other. Watch over each other. We all need that. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love.